And we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Wolf It Down Weekly. Your fun hour-and-a-half break inside the kitchen, inside the world of food, what's happening right now. So glad you're joining us again this week. And as always, my lovely co-host, we got Matt Massera, our culinary director.
Hello, hello.
And Amanda Gold, who we actually have a full-time camera for this week.
I have a camera this week.
Isn't that exciting? Yeah. That's good. So we can see you.
All
the better to see you with.
You're real. Now you're real.
Now you're real.
I am a part of the pod.
How you guys doing? You guys are good?
Good.
Fantastic. You guys, it's Wednesday, February 24th. I'm exhausted. I don't know why. It's been a crazy week.
I agree.
Yeah, we're right in the middle of doing a bunch of stuff right now. We're shooting new videos for Wolf It Down. Our culinary cooking classes are taking off like crazy. And we are in mad pitch season. Am I right, Amanda?
We are definitely in pitch season.
Yeah, we have been, Amanda and I, and Matt's been on a couple of phone calls, but mostly it's been Amanda and I, but we've been on 3 or 4 long conference calls a day with different groups, different organizations, different networks, pitching television concepts. And I'm fried.
Figuring out what we're going to be doing this year.
Exactly. And that's just part of the hustle of what being in like the media world is all about.
Yep.
So I'm glad we're here on the podcast because now I get a chance to relax and just chit chat.
Now we can just sit and talk.
Yeah. And there's so much going on right now this week, particularly with COVID vaccines, right? And today is really important in the state of California because today is the day, February 24th, where the vaccine rollout moves from tier 1A to tier 1B1. And that is not only just healthcare workers and folks who are over 75, now over 65,
yep.
but it's also expanding to childcare workers, agricultural workers, and restaurant workers, right? So now everybody in our particular sector has an opportunity for the first time to go get a vaccine. And I think that's really, really interesting. And we're not trying to set up some whole thing of like pro-vax or not vax or wherever you sit on the spectrum is totally up to you to make that decision if you want to go get one or not. But I just think it's super important just because it's kind of changing our industry right now.
Yep.
And how we're going to open the doors back up inside the restaurant business. And I think that's really, really important.
Yep.
We also just moved to the red tier in the state of California, especially in Marin County and in San Francisco. So we were in complete lockdown for the last couple of months almost, right? Since it's the holidays.
Yeah, I think since November.
Since November, right? So the last big spikes was a complete lockdown, right? So that's no outdoor dining whatsoever. And kind of going back to what the world looked like last March, this time last year, right?
Yeah.
So now we're into, we're not in the purple tier, which is complete lockdown. We're in the red tier, which means that if we can hold on to this particular infection rate where we are right now, restaurants in San Francisco can reopen at 25% occupancy plus outdoor dining in 10 days.
Yeah,
right?
so it's actually kind of a weird meeting point of like the fact that this is happening, indoor dining is opening as vaccines are available, because it's definitely been, for lack of a better term, a little bit of a dumpster fire here in terms of this whole system.
Yeah.
So,
but nobody knows what to do. I mean, I think it's like you want to, because it's such a very, very deep story, right? You can start looking at Florida and Texas and the fact that they had, like no shutdown whatsoever. And they're actually coming out of this a little faster than the states that did have a full lockdown, which is kind of interesting as far as like herd immunity goes, right?
Yeah.
And then with California, it's like who wants to roll the dice and get that one wrong and be responsible for another spike, right? So from a political standpoint, I just feel bad for these people to have to make these big decisions on a daily basis because, what's the right thing to do here? What is the right thing? Public safety is the right thing to do. But then it also comes at a cost. It comes at an economic cost. So hopefully we can kind of get through this as fast as possible. But Amanda, thank you so much for setting this phone call up. We got a phone call in couple minutes with Jot Condi, who's the president and CEO of the California Restaurant Association, and he's going to come on and kind of give us some advice and some structure behind the new tier opening up for restaurant workers in the state of California to get a vaccine, and we'll kind of hear his POV on that. So I think that could be really interesting because it's very timely.
Yeah, and just get a more of an idea of what individual restaurants are doing to make this happen or to give the opportunity for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the other side of this, just because I'm not only a chef, I'm also a businessman, like the legality of making a decision as a restaurant owner. Do you have a firm rule of if you don't have a vax, you don't have a job?
Yeah, requiring it.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you required, or can restaurants take that position if you don't have a vaccine, do you not have a job at the end of this? So I just think it's interesting. Obviously, at Wayfair Tavern, we haven't made a decision on that. Have we talked about it? Sure, but it's just sort of open in the air right now because we don't really know, what this will potentially look like, right? I mean, let's just say, you already had COVID and you've got antibodies, and you don't want to get the vaccine, but technically you are protected at some level whatsoever, right? Or maybe you just want to wear a mask. I don't really know. But so in a couple of minutes, we're going to have Jot Condi, who's the president and CEO of the California Restaurant Association, hop on the podcast with us to kind of clarify some of this because it is confusing for sure.
It's very confusing. And, it's a debate for a diner too. If you're going in and you're finally like, okay, I think I'm comfortable enough to go indoors in a restaurant, are you going in assuming that restaurant workers have been vaccinated, haven't been vaccinated?
Yeah.
There's that piece of it too.
Right, absolutely. Okay, I think that's them right now. Okay, hang tight. Here we go. Hello, Jot.
Tyler.
Jot Condi, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. Super excited to have you. We're here in the studio with Matt Massera, who is our corporate culinary director, and then Amanda Gold, who reached out to you via email.
Yep. Hello, Matt. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Jot.
Hi, Jot. How's it going?
So we wanted to, so today's a big day in the state of California for restaurant workers specifically, because today is the first day that the vaccination tier moves down from 1A to 1B1, right? And that sort of opens up from for childcare workers, and every school teacher in the state of California should get it vaccinated right away if they want to. But it also opens up the opportunity for agricultural workers and restaurant workers for the first time. So we're stepping up to a slot in this thing where we are essential workers, and because we keep the pipeline of the food structure alive. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how this dominoes, from the diner to the restaurant worker to all of a sudden going completely down the pipeline to
suppliers, farmers,
agricultural workers, and everything else. So as soon as we can kind of start building that pipeline back up, the food economy can come back to life again. So we want to get you on the podcast, get your point of view on this, and maybe even clarify some stuff for us.
Awesome. Yeah. So you want me to kind of give you my elevator pitch, or just sort of our take on things and how things are going?
I would love that. That'd be great for all of our viewers.
So like you said, we are firmly embedded in sort of that essential worker category, and the food and agriculture worker sort of category within that 1B tier is pretty broad. It includes restaurant workers, grocery workers, ag workers, food processors, pet food manufacturers even. Not that there's a ton of pet food manufacturers in California, but and each county, they get sort of certain allotments. And so the counties also have an ability to, within, let's say, the sequencing of, let's say, the 1B category, to prioritize certain workers. So if you go to the Central Valley, for example, starting Monday, Fresno County is going to be making the vaccine available to restaurant workers. But within that food worker category, they've been vaccinating food processors and farm workers for a while now, because that's a predominant industry in that area, and there's a larger percentage of their population who are in that category. San Francisco actually starts today. Long Beach has been doing it for a while. So you have different counties that are sort of sequencing the 1B category based on sort of, I'm assuming, the number of residents that are in a particular industry, or like San Francisco, of course, it's a restaurant town. I mean, you want to get those food workers vaccinated quickly. Yeah. And I think the governor just a couple days ago was in Long Beach, and Long Beach started vaccinating restaurant workers and grocery workers weeks ago, and they're well into that process. So it's been super important, and we have been thankful that California has kept us in that 1B category. I think for a while there was a risk that we were going to sort of get bumped, because as you had these decisions being made on the fly, when it appeared as though there was a supply issue, And the counties were trying to get, the most vulnerable who wanted to be vaccinated to get them vaccinated. Certainly those that are over 65, 75, those with, morbidity conditions.
And we've been doing that pretty well since December. Am I right?
Yeah. And so if you look at, those that are in those sensitive subpopulation categories, California is, on a roll, and we expect it to become more robust just as the days go on. So, I think one of the things as we were talking to, Dr. Galley and those at the Department of Public Health just about, our workforce. The tragic toll that this pandemic has had, on communities of color has been disproportionate. And I mean, that's well documented. And I think what a lot of people don't know is that our workforce, not just our workforce, but the owners, 60% of restaurants in California are owned by people of color. You have business owners that are predominantly people of color, but then our workforce, 70+% are people of color, and are living in communities of color. It's sort of I guess the twofer. You can address the health equity issue that is a very real issue in California, but also get our frontline workers, vaccinated at the same time.
Right. And the way I see this, right, because you want to take care of the most vulnerable population right away, right? So anybody that would have a higher morbidity factor because of pre-existing conditions or their age or whatever, you want to take care of them to give them an opportunity, right? But then right behind that, I just feel like anybody who interacts with the public on a regular basis, right? So these restaurants don't end up becoming like the new super spreader event, right? So that's what we want to mitigate as much as possible, because every time we've cracked the door back open and sort of opened back up the economy a little bit, boom, there goes another spike, right? It's happened every single time, right? So happened in the spring, complete shutdown, the numbers start to go down again. Everybody starts to feel a little comfortable because it's starting to, everybody feels like it's okay. They can gather in someone's home, and then boom, the second spike in the summer. Then everybody puts their mask back on and starts to take it seriously. The numbers go down again, and then we get the winter spike, which was the pandemic inside the pandemic, right? Now the numbers are starting to go down again. So I think if we could hit that higher vaccination rate, right, more than current COVID case loads that are coming in, I think we could start to tip this where we feel like the restaurants are a comfortable and safe place to go, because I think people want to get out, they want to go to restaurants, and I do think it's probably a safer place to go, especially if you're eating outside, to meet your friends than kind of meeting them at their house, right?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, it's interesting that actually there's a number of public health experts and sort of biostatisticians that had looked at what happened in Los Angeles, for example, when they shut outdoor dining. And yet after they shut outdoor dining, the cases started to spike. And what they determined was that it was sort of pushing people into sort of this underground mixing environment where, people are people. They're humans. You need to interact with others, obviously safely. But if you're going to your friend's barbecue in the backyard in the LA Hills or a house party because you want to see your friends, it's probably safer to do it in an environment where you're eating outdoors and it's, regulated by the county, and people are required to wear masks.
Right.
So absolutely, it is much safer to eat at a restaurant outdoors than it is to eat at your friend's house in their living room. And I think to your point about, people need and want to get out. I mean, there is a pent up demand. I mean, we've seen some counties just recently open up indoors. And as soon as, LA County opened outdoors, even though it's pretty limited, people were, you couldn't get a table on a sidewalk because people just sort of have that need to be out. There's a lot of, everyone's going stir crazy. I mean,
and they're sick of their own cooking, right? I'm sick of it.
their own cooking.
Right. The 10 dishes they know how to make really, really well. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
yeah, well, you shouldn't be sick of your own cooking.
No, guys.
You cook really damn good.
Well, I appreciate
but most of
that.
us don't.
Well, listen, I appreciate that. And next time you're down in the Bay Area from Sacramento, we'd love to host you at Wayford Tavern, like we always do. But let me ask you a question. Okay, so now so what you just said before, that so the state has opened up tier 1B1, right? But the counties are making micro decisions on who is still eligible to get a vaccine if they want a vaccine. Now, where can people go? Is there one statewide website that they can go to find out if they're eligible or not, or if their county has opened up or not?
So the best place to go would be and I don't have the exact link, but if you go to the California Department of Public Health website, they have a section in there that says vaccines. They've got the most up-to-date information. But, I think the best thing for people to do is to, go to your county health department website. In the next week or so, you can go to the calrest.org, our website, and we will be posting county by county locations where they're available,
right?
And posting what subpopulations are eligible to be vaccinated. So that'll be coming in the next couple days.
And John, that was my next question. Where can they? What is the California Restaurant Association doing to letting people know where they can go get vaccinated? Right. So the first thing is when, and the second thing is do I need to register? Do I need to get in line? Do I need to make an appointment? What do people do? Because a lot of people, and I just bumped into a friend of mine on the sidewalk yesterday in Mill Valley, California, where our studio is, and he's a restaurant owner, and we were just talking about, okay, wow, tomorrow's the 24th. It feels like a big day, and nobody really knows what to do. So we want to get people, and again, give people the option to get vaccinated or not get vaccinated, whatever their personal story is. But if you want to get vaccinated, I think it's the fastest, quickest way that we can open up the economy for the restaurant industry and the food pipeline in general, right? To get everybody vaccinated if they want to get a vaccine, to kind of get this going.
Well, and I think, to your earlier point, Jot, I think that, getting people in the workforce in underserved communities is a priority because they don't necessarily know what to do and where to go. And that seems to be, an inequity that we're seeing all over the place, is that, wealthier white communities who are staying at home know how to get online and get a quick appointment, where that's not happening necessarily in these underserved communities and with the restaurant workforce. So I think that, giving some information as to how they can go about doing that would be really helpful.
And we'll post some show notes below, because this is going to be on YouTube. So if you go click on the notes below right now, we'll make sure that we've got some links where you a direct click through to figure out where in the state of California you can register, or if your county is making tier 1B1 available for you if you're in the restaurant business. But it feels like a good day. It feels like we're coming to the end of this. I can't imagine what this has been like on your end. Thank you so much for your leadership in Sacramento.
Yeah. It's been. I feel like a 911 operator that's been on a 12-month shift, but it pales in comparison to what the industry is going through. No, and not just the restaurant owners. Our workers, those who are passionate about this industry, who have been kind of whipsawed back and forth. You can come to work. Oh, we have to shut back down again. You can come to work. So, I think it's the great untold story in this pandemic. There's a lot of talk about restaurant owners, and certainly it's a tragedy in and of itself. But there's 1.4 million workers who want to come back to work, but don't have a place to go to where you get regular hours. So it's we do see some light at the end of the tunnel. And I think as it relates to the vaccines, the state has picked up the pace, and I think it's largely because there is this variant that we're all reading about now, and there's kind of this race to try to stay one step ahead of some of these variants that are popping up that are sort of U.S. grown variants. And I think the health officials realize you've got to get people vaccinated quicker.
Yep.
So we can stay ahead of any variant that who knows could be extra virulent against a vaccine.
Yeah, and to not blame anybody, because I think there's plenty of commentators out there, pundits out there that are playing armchair quarterback on what would be a better rollout situation or a better plan or whatever it is. Everyone's trying to figure this out. This is like the one in 100 year pandemic that we're all trying to deal with. So I think we're just taking it one step at a time. But dude, thank you so much for your leadership. I think you're an amazing president and CEO of the California Restaurant Association. Thrilled to have you overseeing so many restaurants and then taking on the responsibility to make sure that they have more information and they have some leadership in Sacramento and there is a voice out there. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. And John,
I appreciate it.
We got one more question.
One more quick question. Yeah. Do you think that, where do you see the future of this going in terms of what restaurants are going to require of their workers? Yeah. Okay. Oh, great. I'm glad you brought that up, because the question was the legality from restaurants. Like, can they insist that all their employees be vaccinated or they don't have a job?
Well, so it's interesting because more than half, I would say 60% of our workforce pre-pandemic are not working. And you have restaurants, many restaurant owners that have stayed in contact with their former employees, so they're not technically employees. Mm-hmm. And so, actually, as we speak right now, the state Senate and the state assembly are considering requiring employers to pay for their employees who will get vaccinated. But the restaurant industry, which is very unique to most other industries, we've been told by the state, 12 months ago, that we need to shut down. And we've been shut down for the better part of a year. And so there's a lot of former employees who are not working for a restaurant. So a restaurant can't call someone who's waiting to, come back to work and be an employee again. That owner can't call and say, you got to go get vaccinated, if you're going to come back to work, or the state can't make someone pay a wage to somebody who's not an employee. So it's really confusing, because we're in a very unique situation as an industry. Now, if a restaurant say shut down completely and then open back up and hiring new employees, if you talk to two lawyers, you're going to get two different answers. And it's always, important for any restaurant to just check with your lawyers, before you create a policy. But the answer is, a restaurant who's bringing on new employees, can ask if somebody's been vaccinated. And if someone has an objection, to being vaccinated, especially if they have a disability, or let's say they have objections on religious grounds, mm-hmm. That they're protected by the ADA. And so you're going to need to be mindful of that. And you don't want to run afoul of the law. So I didn't give you a really good answer there.
Well,
but,
I'm not sure there is a good answer.
But it's definitely a question that I think most restaurant owners are thinking about, right? Because obviously they want to, portray themselves to the public as a safe place to go. And as much as they possibly can, 100% of their employees are vaccinated. And that's the really only way you're going to know and you're going to feel safe. But from a legal standpoint, can you insist that all your employees be vaccinated, or you don't have a job? It's kind of one of those big things that I think a lot of people are talking about right now. And I just want to get your take on it. I would definitely recommend any restaurant owner consult with their HR attorney before they start making any hard policies inside their restaurant of what they can do and can't do. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of legal blowback from that, from lawyers. Yep. There's just going to be, right? We're totally expecting that. But we just want to get the doors open. We want to start hiring our good people back. We want to start getting our fried chicken out the door again to as many people as possible. And I just feel like we're at the end of it.
We're on the precipice.
I feel like we're at the end of it. Thank God.
Yep. Agreed. And best fried chicken, by the way.
Thank you, man.
Every time I go
man.
there, I've got to get that fried chicken.
Thank you.
Jot, I got a question for you before we let you go. From the CRA's perspective and your own personal perspective, what do you see as like a really positive outcome from this past year in the restaurant community?
You're asking me to dig really deep looking for something positive. So, I think that, look, I mean, if you look at our industry as we came out of, let's say, the Great Recession, one of the positive outcomes was, that an industry became better at what they did. They became more efficient. They provided a better product. I think, in this pandemic, there's some things that it was an accelerant for, use of technology. I think the industry, when we bounce back, and I think we will bounce back, it may take a couple of years to fully get there, but somebody just reminded me the other day, the last time we had a pandemic like this was in 1918. Mm-hmm. And then, if you think about the Roaring 20s happened 2 years later. And I would imagine, people just needed to get out. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a Roaring 20s again. I think our industry has gotten a lot smarter at adopting technologies. I mean, I think some things that aren't going to go away. I think ordering consumers, eating on a patio or on a sidewalk for the last 12 months in a contactless, environment where they're ordering from using their phone and a QR code.
Yeah.
And then the food appears. That I think will help restaurants be more efficient. And I think a lot of consumers kind of like that. And then I think, there's some policies that the state had, responded with to try to help our industry, like allowing cocktails to go. I mean, certainly we would prefer people come to a restaurant and have a couple cocktails rather than order it, from their living room. But hell, if we'd rather them order a cocktail from us than make it in their own kitchen, because we make cocktails better.
We do. We definitely do. We definitely do. I think this has been an accelerant, right? From a digital landscape standpoint, right? Where, normally a lot of these technologies take a long time to adapt. Just because it's not broken, there's no reason to really fix it unless something like this really happens. So I think some of those small details, like sitting outside at a restaurant and then holding up the camera of your phone to the QR code that on the pop-up that's on the table, and all of a sudden the menu is on your phone versus having printed paper. I think some of these things are going to stick, and I think some are kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
I think some are kind of cool.
Agreed, and I think that the rents, especially in San Francisco, I think landlords for restaurants that are lucky enough to renegotiate a lease agreement will find that rents, there may be more opportunities out there for restaurant owners.
Absolutely, and there sure is, right? And to not dig around through the restaurants that have closed. But if you want to open up a restaurant, I promise you there's some really good real estate opportunities right now.
That is definitely true.
To go take a look at, right? So if you want to get a good business model together and then find some investors, there's some deals to be had out there that may not come along for another decade or so. So I think there's definitely some opportunities, so we can all kind of pick ourselves up and push forward to a better day in the restaurant industry. But listen, Giaconti, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you hopping on the Wolf It Down podcast, the president and CEO of the California Restaurant Association. Sir, thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you,
Thank you, Tyler,
Thanks,
Amanda, Matt. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, man. Take care. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so just to recap that, it sounds like there will be some information on the California Restaurant Association website for the California restaurant workforce.
Yeah.
Which is calrest.org, which will let you know if your county is eligible at that point and where you can go to either get more information or get yourself signed up.
Exactly. And
if you so choose.
If you so choose. And so in the notes below, there we'll put up a couple of links that you can just kind of check. And I think it's sort of a refresh game at this point, right? Because I actually got a text message this morning because we registered a couple of weeks ago for vaccines. And so we were kind of in line already that I will get another notification that when my appointment is available. Right. So I don't know when that's going to happen too, but anyway, it's all in the works. But I just feel like, this will give the world some confidence to come out and, come back to restaurants. And I think at the end of the day, that's all we're looking for. Right. It's to make everybody feel a little more comfortable about being around other people. Right. And so we can kind of get our our very damaged industry back in shape
Back
again.
on its feet.
Back on its feet again.
Yeah.
Well, tonight, because normally we like to have a silly good time in the kitchen, but I thought it was like one of those serious things we should talk about. And
Listen, it's timely. It's happening today. So.
yeah, it's happening today. Today's the 24th, and today's the first day in the state of California that it's moving down from tier 1A to tier 1B1, and again, that's sort of opening up the world of restaurant workers. So if you want to go get a vaccine, go get one. Right? I think then that's the way to spell it. But there's something else that was happening this week that we've been sort of texting about, the three of us, and
there's a war happening.
There's a
There's a
war.
war.
There's
I
a
don't
war
know a
going
lot of
on.
People know about the war that is among us.
And a war that is intensifying. This is like World War III, right? But it's having to do with hot chicken sandwiches, because it feels like everybody's stepping up their game.
Yeah, everyone's coming to the table with a new hot chicken sandwich now.
Yeah.
So now the list, I mean, it was the big feud last year, the 2018, 19, when Popeyes came to the table with theirs.
Uh-huh.
And then it was like Popeyes and Chick-Fil-A.
Yeah.
Well, now McDonald's is dropping theirs. And it just dropped, 2 days ago?
It just dropped a couple days ago, and I think you sent a picture of a hot chicken sandwich hoodie that sold out.
Yeah.
Matt did that. Right.
Yeah.
So they had this website, chickendrop.com, and chicken was spelled all kind of crazy.
Oh, this is funny.
And,
This is really funny.
And they launched the website at like 9 a.m. like last week. And if you got on, you could buy like merch, like gear for super cheap, like a hoodie
For
with
$5.
a picture of a chicken sandwich on it for like $5, and like a spot in line to get a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
And it sold out instantly. But the funniest part about this is that Popeyes knew that everybody was going to spell it wrong and bet on it. They bet that everybody was going to spell chickendrop.com wrong.
Yeah.
Because they spelled it. It was like CHKN drop.com.
Sure.
And so what Popeyes did, they bought the domain names for all of the other like possible ways you could spell chicken drop. So whenever you typed it in wrong, it directed you back to Popeye's website.
That's
in
so
this
funny.
like backwards spelling, like you got here because you can't type right, but we show you we make good stuff.
It's starting to become a real thing. Like if you don't have a fried chicken sandwich on your menu, you're not really in this like new competition world, right?
Yeah.
It's like everybody's got to have it.
Well,
Yeah.
it's kind of like the trickle down too. I mean, I feel like 5 years ago, let's say, I mean, do you remember here in the Bay Area when Bake Sale Betty had their fried chicken sandwich? And it was like people were traveling all over, from all over the state to Oakland to get their Bake Sale Betty fried chicken sandwich. And it just became like, we're a restaurant that's doing one thing. It's a fried chicken sandwich. Who
Yeah.
doesn't love that? And then, so some of like the bigger spots, the more the not fast food spots, I should say,
Sure.
we're doing that. And so then it sort of trickles down, and now it's really
Yeah,
obviously
the
mainstream.
The food trends on the street take a long time to get up to the corporate fast
Right.
food level,
So
right?
mhm.
Like
Kind of
when there was like the
trickle down,
sriracha movement, and then the
Right.
bacon movement, and like
Exactly.
wherever, and then like the
Barbecue
spicy,
movement.
yeah,
right,
and then
right.
like and even now like there's that like Korean barbecue thing, and now like Shake Shack has a Korean barbecue menu that you can get. So it's interesting to see how long it takes for those big companies to turn that ship around and get on board with all of those, because the manufacturing behind it all is incredible, but it's here.
It's here.
And
Yeah.
it's happening.
And the battle is starting to intensify. So we've got a couple of the sandwiches, and Ellie, who's in our group, she just texted me that she's actually in the Chick-fil-A drive-through as we speak, and she's picking up 3 spicy chicken sandwiches. But we got 2 of them here right now. So and Taco Bell is jumping
They
in the
just
game.
entered. Yeah, they're come out
get
in
in the
March.
ring.
March 11th, I think they're coming out with a hot chicken
Chalupa
taco
thing. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're jumping in the ring. So if you happen to have already tasted the Popeyes fried chicken sandwich, right? So we didn't get that one. And not that we didn't want to get that one, but we had that one last week, as a matter of fact. So right now we're going to taste the McDonald's one that's brand new, that just dropped. We have one here in studio. We're also going to taste that versus the Shake Shack one. But the Shake Shack thing is now different. You said that they're not doing the fried chicken
They
sandwich?
drop the spicy, so it's just it's the fried chicken sandwich. It's doesn't have the spice.
a little.
Well,
Yeah, because last week they had I think they had a Korean spicy chicken sandwich.
What?
Yeah.
And let's just
What happened,
Can we
Chick-Shack?
just say for a second, just because I feel like we need to, set this up, that contrary to popular belief, this is not actually a fast food podcast.
I was just going to say that.
Because we
have
the
done 4
burger taste
episodes.
off.
4 weeks in a row.
The burger
Like,
taste
right.
off number 2.
Yeah, right. 4
Last
weeks
week
in a
we
row.
had Popeye's fish sandwich and chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
So we were gonna push this out, but we did not feel like we could because it's happening.
Yeah, we had another, Matt, Tyler, and Amanda eat stuff. Do we have an updated jingle or no? What do we
No.
got? But you want to drop the jingle now?
And Amanda.
And Amanda eat stuff. Tyler and Amanda and Matt eat stuff.
We can adjust it.
We'll
We'll adjust the jingle.
Okay, so
Count
yeah,
me
just
in.
so everybody knows, right? This is not a fast food podcast, right? But I think some of the stuff is just culturally relevant.
And it's happening right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's happening
this
right
McDonald's I think was
Yeah.
yesterday or the day before.
Yeah,
Good
get in the
job.
ring. Get in the ring, Mickey
Yeah.
D's. Let's see what you got. Okay, so we got 2 fried chicken sandwiches right now. We've got the McDonald's, the Shake Shack, and then Ellie is coming with 3 Chick-Fil-A sandwiches. So these are all relatively new.
And don't get
Right?
me
Yeah.
wrong, I will be bringing in the Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell.
Oh my
And I will
God.
be bringing in the Taco Bell
Who
stuff.
doesn't?
I haven't had Taco Bell since college. When I was in college,
fantastic.
You're clearly not a millennial.
listen, Taco Bell has been around for a long time. It's
I know,
not just
but
a millennial
but
thing.
I agree,
Listen,
but
I was
like-
dropping the chalupa before
Yes.
the chalupa was dropped.
But we gave it up for a while,
Yeah.
and the millennials brought it back. In a big
Yeah, I
way.
haven't had one in quite some time. But I just remember, like, when I was in culinary school in Charleston, I used to live in West Ashley, and I would drive across the Cooper River Bridge, like literally with in my Jeep with a chalupa driving with a stick shift. I mean, I had one every day. There was like Taco Bell wrappers in my car, but I don't think I've had Taco Bell
Yeah.
in a decade.
I just got it for the first time in, easily a decade.
Yeah.
A few months ago. It's good.
You guys ready to do this? All right, so Ellie's going to come in a couple minutes. She just texted me. She's pulling up. But we got 2 of the 3 hot
Line 'em up.
Cut 'em
hot
up.
chicken sandwiches, and we got some hot sauce if you want hot, right? But we got to taste them unadulterated.
Right.
Right.
We need to maybe drop a little hot sauce
All right,
on
well,
the Shake
yeah.
Shack.
All right, well, let me get them. Hang on. Okay, so this is the Mickey D's, right, sandwich? Okay.
So they got. Let's talk about the packaging. It looks like they got a similar bag, that kind of like foil lined bag that
Popeyes.
that Popeyes or
Yeah.
that Popeyes and Chick-Fil-A have.
That's right. Keep it warm, right?
Yep.
So, and it can,
It's like a
Keep it,
NASA,
keep
like a
it,
little
keep
NASA
it warm
blanket.
without steaming it.
Sure. And since we our close up food camera is now Amanda's POV camera, I'm going to hold this up,
camera.
all right, and so you guys can get a chance. So it comes in this little bag, right?
Is that
And
a
then-
double patty? No.
No, this is like, this is obviously a breast too. I don't think this is a thigh, right? Are they going breast on this?
Who knows? It might be.
You can
might
call
be
it whatever you
My
want to call
proof-
it.
pink
my-
stuff.
My, like nugget material.
Is it a breast
Yeah, it's
or
just a
thigh?
giant nugget.
It's like whatever.
I wouldn't hate it.
whatever the goop is.
I'd love to think that was one or the other, but I don't.
Oh,
think
look
so.
at that. We got some Shake Shack crinkle fries.
Oh
Been
yeah,
there-
sorry. I
been there,
needed
done that.
a car snack.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Tax, Amanda tax.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then so this is Shake Shack. Comes in a box just like this, right? And full and juicy, very Shake Shack, very gourmet, right?
Yeah,
that
like
like
Shake
a-
Shack.
class?
Shake Shack is a little bit of an outlier here.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it almost doesn't belong with the McDonald's.
What's the bun on
Chick-fil-A.
that McDonald's one? Is that like a pretzel bun type of thing?
It feels like the King Hawaiian roll, right?
Or? Okay.
It's
So like
yellow.
a sweet like potato roll type of thing?
Yeah, it's very.
It looks
soft
like it's got like an
brioche-y.
egg wash on there.
Yeah, totally. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
A little shiny.
Super shiny. Okay, so I'm gonna cut. This is the Shake Shack one, and I'm a little bummed out. It's not spicy, but chicken sandwich is chicken sandwich,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, well, and I think the spicy thing also kind of is coming from Nashville, right? Like the whole Nashville hot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a major
Thing.
trend.
Yeah.
So Prince's hot fried chicken, and Matt, when we went to the Nashville Food Wine Festival, God, feels like 1,000 years ago. I think it was 2019. We went to Prince's fried chicken, which is it's not Cardi B. Wait.
Hattie B's.
Hattie B, right?
Hattie B's.
Hattie B's in Nashville too. So it's like Hattie B's versus Prince's fried chicken for the real authentic Nashville hot.
I bet Cardi B's got some hot chicken, but
Probably. All right, okay, guys. So I got some little nugs here, little nuggets. Let me get some plates. on.
Prince's was fantastic.
I have a photograph of you crying your eyes up. By the way.
Tears of joy.
Okay, so I'm really interested in the McDonald's thing, right? Because I think they put an enormous amount of engineering into their food, and I don't mean that in a way that's not like wholesome or real. I just think they really think about flavors. Now, okay, so this is the new, just dropped this week, McDonald's hot chicken sandwich. tasted by our panel of experts.
Wait, it's this one, right?
You want something really funny that so tastes like McDonald's? It tastes like an airport to me. I don't know why. Close your eyes. Are you in an airport right now? I'm in an airport. Does that taste like McDonald's?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the fryer that they fry the chicken in?
Yeah, that's a no for me.
That's a hot no for you? Yeah.
It's a hard no for me.
Isn't that funny how that tastes like McDonald's? It's got to be from the fryer, right? Because obviously they fry the French fries and they fry the chicken the same thing.
They don't fry the chicken. They air fry all that stuff. It's like pre-cooked. And then they heat it up in these like little steamer drawer things.
How do you know that?
I had a friend that worked at McDonald's.
Do you know that it was my brother's first job at 15, working at McDonald's.
So you're saying this does not go in a deep fryer? This goes in like an air fryer thing?
It's like when you buy like chicken tenders in the frozen, like Dino Nuggets. You buy them in the frozen food section, you know?
Yep.
And if you took those and put them into an air fryer, because McDonald's, the only thing they fry are the French fries and I think their hash browns because it's just potatoes.
Right.
This has got to go in a fryer. It tastes like a fryer to me, doesn't it? It tastes like the French fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so into it, right?
Not so into it.
Yeah, Matt, what do you think?
It's just, yeah.
Nick, you want to get in one? You want to nibble? Can I just like cut you off a little crumb? No, look at you. You're disciplined. I appreciate that.
It tastes like a McChicken without the McChicken stuff.
Yeah, actually, I like nuggets better than I like that. It tastes like chicken nuggets.
And it's almost like the hot sauce is like doing a weird thing where it's like it's got like one corner of my throat, but like it doesn't feel like it's like on there, like it's bathing the hot chicken sandwich like it should.
It's just a smear of mayonnaise on the bun.
It's just like a smear of hot mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's not the fried chicken's on.
Is there anything else on there, like pickles or anything?
I don't
or is
think
it
so.
just chicken and
I think
hot
it's
sauce?
just chicken and hot sauce.
Okay, so yeah, so it's fried chicken, and I think the fried chicken. I'm going to talk my mouth over it, but the fried chicken's got maybe some black pepper or something on it. I mean, it's definitely got some spice. It's seasoned, right? But it looks like the hot stuff is literally just.
Oh, there's pickles in there.
There's pickles and spicy mayonnaise, and that's about it.
Very, very small amount of pickles. A little stingy on the pickle slices.
To be exact.
Right, two
Right.
pickles, right? So,
Maybe you get lucky and you get a pickle in your bite.
Yeah. So, but tell me about the chili heat. Like, what kind of chili is this specifically? Can you taste it?
No, I already ate mine.
It feels like the mayonnaise is
Cayenne pepper.
something like that. The mayonnaise is my favorite part. I think the spicy mayonnaise. I actually like that. It's good. I don't like the sandwich.
I think it's cayenne.
It's cayenne, right? Hitting you back of the throat.
Amanda brought water this week. I noticed that.
Look at this.
The gallon, the big jug.
Jug of water.
I know. All right, cool. So, we got two of the three new contenders in the fried chicken world knocked out. The McDonald's thing. Are we in a collective agreement that's not our favorite fried chicken sandwich? It's not mine.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't love it. So out of these two, I think the Shake Shack.
Well,
Duh. Right.
come on.
And this looks like real chicken.
Breast of chicken. Feels like it's got a little brine on it. It's nice and soft. It's full. Nice crust. Like when you bite it, you snap into what feels like fried chicken.
And you get some like crunchy lettuce.
Yep, a little toothy. The pickles feel like they're fresh pickles, like gourmet pickles. Nice shredded lettuce on that.
I'm dipping it in the chili sauce. Chili oil, I should say.
And the mayonnaise kind of has this like ranch kind of thing going on.
Yep.
I don't even know if this is a real contest anyway, because I think if we want to have a versus this versus that, I think we got to have everybody at the table, right? I think I'm interested in tasting this Taco Bell thing.
Yep.
You know, right next to the McDonald's thing, and right next to the Shake Shack, and then the Chick-Fil-A thing, which is on the way. We'll give that a little nibble, see what's doing there.
But
right?
the Taco Bell thing is going to be totally different.
Yeah, right.
Like their nacho fries. It's totally different.
Totally.
Totally. All right.
they've had the McChicken for a long time.
And there's a grilled chicken, right? Sort of a.
They have a grilled chicken. They have the McChicken.
Wait, so is this basically the McChicken just with like a swipe of cayenne mayo?
But the McChicken is like a giant chicken nugget, where this is like a chicken breast that is like looks like it's like pressed.
Yeah. If I had to do a little research, do a little dissection on this, right? So it looks like a half of a chicken breast smashed out. And if you take a look at the lines on the inside, this is not like a composite nugget thing. This actually looks like chicken breast, right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So they can.
Whereas I think that
that.
The McChicken is just like one giant nugget.
Sure. Right. And here we are. Ellie just pulled up and dropped off some Chick-Fil-A hot chicken sandwiches, right?
Really, this is the best one. I'm just gonna go say it before I even take a bite.
Okay, so this one
best
doesn't look hot. This one just looks like a fried chicken sandwich. How does it work? Is it hot on the side, or does it come?
I don't know. Let's try it and we'll see.
Yep, this is the hot one.
This is a hot one.
Yeah.
I got 2 pieces of bun.
Very steamed.
It's very steamy. I got 2 pieces of bun. I got 2 pickles, and I got chicken. So the chicken's hot. The chicken better be spicy on this, right?
What's with the 2 pickles? This one 2 pickles too. It's not enough.
It's industry standard. 2 pickle sandwich. 2 pickle. I don't know. Here.
Right?
It's so much better than anything else.
So much better. You don't need sauce. It's good. It's so juicy.
There's no sauce on this, right? And although I think I'd like to have the shredded lettuce from the Shake Shack burger on this, right?
So they do what they call the deluxe.
Uh-huh.
The deluxe one comes with like lettuce, cheese, and like a slice of tomato.
Okay.
But this is just the hot chicken.
Well, hot chicken.
And I do believe that Chick-fil-A brines their chicken in like pickle brine.
It kind of tastes like it. There's definitely like a little bit of a tangy thing going on there.
Yeah, so I think from a construction standpoint, I like Shake Shack. From a flavor standpoint, I like Chick-fil-A, right?
Yep.
I don't like the McDonald's chicken sandwich.
I don't either.
Yeah. Not on my list.
Not a contender.
Not a contender. Right. So, and again, we're trying our hardest not to make this the fast food podcast, but I think we got to get to the bottom of it. You know?
Yeah.
We're just scratching the surface. So is this round 1?
Well, I think we need to.
One.
This is a preliminary.
Yeah, I think this is.
Have we done Shake Shack versus Popeyes though, side by side?
I don't think we need to revisit this.
I think we need to put this on. I think we
winner.
need to put this on pause. Know that like Chick-fil-A is the clear winner of this round if we're doing a contest, which we're not. And
everything's a contest.
Right, everything's a contest. There must be one winner.
If you're not first, you're last.
Right. If you're not first, you're last.
It's like
But
Highlander.
I just think we're
There
gonna
can only be one.
6 sandwiches in or 1 sandwich leaves.
we're gonna revisit this topic when Taco Bell comes out with their hot chicken taco.
Yeah, because
And we're not gonna retaste everything. We're gonna
recap. We're gonna recap. Yeah, we're gonna recap
what happened here.
Yeah, we are
And-
on top of what's happening today out there in the food world. And right now there's a war out there. There's a fried chicken war, and we're here to tell you what's happening. To report from the front line right now that I think Chick-fil-A is the clear winner out of all
Chick-fil-A
this
is
stuff.
crushing.
Chick-fil-A is crushing because
But
it's the spice, the spice and the flavor.
But to say it's Sunday and you want to get a
Right,
hot
it's
chicken
the-
sandwich, where do you go?
Right. I was gonna say the only problem with Chick-fil-A is that they're not open on Sundays.
Well, you know,
Where would you go? Out of this decision, would you go to Popeyes?
I'd go to Popeyes.
Okay, there you go. So Popeyes close second.
So I think Popeyes is better than this. Have you had the Popeyes
Yes,
recently?
last week.
No, last week.
Popeyes is
Yes,
is
remember
very
the
inconsistent.
chicken sandwich last week from Popeyes was insurance?
Oh, you know,
on the fish sandwich?
Well, here's the deal. I actually did not eat the chicken sandwich. I just had the fish sandwich. I didn't even have a bite.
I did. I had the chicken sandwich, and
you had chicken
I'm still
sandwich.
going Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, the Popeyes one is very inconsistent. The Chick-fil-A one is like they
Always
crush
on
it.
money.
It's like the in and out of chicken sandwiches.
This is spiced perfectly. This is a delicious sandwich, right?
Yeah, it's
really
delicious.
good. Yeah.
Dana, my wife, she prefers Chick-fil-A over Popeyes any day. She feels like To quote her, she says she feels like Popeyes is like eating gas station chicken sandwich versus Chick-fil-A is like eating like proper, like well manicured, taking care of good ingredients, like In-N-Out.
So I want to talk about that next week, speaking of gas stations, because 7-Eleven is starting to redo all of their fast food places because of the pandemic. All their little convenience stores, they're starting to turn over into this kind of like high-end foodie hub with like a hot taco bar, right? And lots of cool beverages on top of like, all the Slim Jims and gasoline you want to get. Now you can actually get hot, live, fresh food out of 7-Eleven. So I think that's kind of interesting too. There's so many kind of fun things that are happening because of the pandemic, because of, people aren't going to the grocery store. So now 7-Eleven, their sales have been skyrocketing to the roof because it's a convenience store that's, local and around the corner and not so many people, not overly populated. You can get in, get out. Right. So anyway, so much good stuff going on. But
yeah, I mean, clearly, as you can see from this podcast, there has been a resurgence of fast food.
Yeah. Right. And it's good. It's good stuff.
I'm going to name a song after Slim Jims and Gasoline.
I like that, man. That would be fun. And if you don't know, Matt is a jingle aficionado and has been producing jingles for our podcast, including
Tyler and Matt eat stuff. Tyler and Matt eat stuff.
Got to add Amanda. All right, so
this week, last week Amanda had a mic. This week Amanda has a camera.
And a mic.
Next week,
Amanda might have a jingle.
Her own jingle.
Yeah. Welcome to the group. It's good. Yeah. All right, cool. So, we don't want to drag this out too much because, listen, I know you got things to do, right? It's just a silly good time in the kitchen. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. Again, in the state of California, if you want to go get a vaccine, now it's available if you're in the restaurant business. It's a very important time that we're just trying to get our industry back up and running again. But we want to thank you so much for your time. Make sure that you like and subscribe and leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're watching on Instagram TV, make sure that you hit that little arrow and pop it up on your story and share it around with your friends, because I think a lot of people have a good time with us in the kitchen, right? And I know you do too. So thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next week on Wolf It Down. Thanks.